Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome back to the Port of Oakland in California. We just loaded up our logs. That was the last thing we did last episode. And we're going to get rolling. Why is our turn signal on? We don't need that. My volume adjusted a little bit. It was a little bit loud. Let's hop in cab. And our trip is... I'm going to turn the sat-nav off, but let's... check. 373 miles. We might be able to do that in one episode. How long till we have to sleep? 6 hours we have to sleep. 24 hours to get the job there. And what did this say for? 7 hours. It'll take us 7 hours to deliver it. We have to sleep in 6 hours. Okay, I think that all made sense. It made sense in my head. Most things do. Right. Here we go. Brake is off. Put her in gear. Here we go. I'm going to do my very best to get up the hill and get on the highway without hitting anything. I don't know why, but this port in particular, I struggle with. Struggling. But I'm going to try to get us out of here without any drama. And we're getting a little stutter right there. What's that about? We'll figure it out. So, what is going on? Oh, man, there's all kinds of things going on. Good stuff. There's no bad stuff going on, but there's good stuff and there's some other. Let's call it other. So one thing I can tell you is drivers updated for me this morning for my NVIDIA card. So, I'm pleased with them so far. I mean, it's kind of tricky with drivers because you never know. They could be great for A, B, and C game, and then X, Y, and Z game hate those new drivers. But is it worth it to roll back or But so far so good. And there's some new features that have been added to. I don't want to say they've been added to Shadowplay. They've been added to the GeForce experience. And one thing that has been added are those filters. Which the best thing I can compare it to is Reshade and SweetFX, which I always say as one, you know what I'm saying? I always like Reshade and SweetFX like it's one thing, but it's actually two things. But post-process filtering, I don't know how you want to describe it. But whatever name you want to use to describe Reshade, that's what this filter thing that is native to NVIDIA cards is. You can do your own sort of filtering and tweaking of games. It works. It really doesn't beat up frame rate too bad, at least not on my system. I like it. The problem that I have with that type of tech is it always seems concentrating. I think, you know what? Before everything goes horribly wrong, like at the start of the video, let's go ahead and fix this. Or what I could do. No, I can't. I was thinking I could. I see you back there. I was thinking I could go to the pump in the center, but that doesn't have the trigger. So we're going to have to make this one work. Concentrating. Just, we'll skin it right in there. I may back it out of here. I may. Right. Set the brake. Engine is off. Let's get some fuel. Actually, we didn't even really need fuel. We could have done without. Oh, so it goes. So it goes. At least we got it. Right. Can we make that? I think we can. We're certainly going to try. So... if we just creep right past that sign. Creep. We're gonna make it. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, we'll make it. Ah, beautiful. Right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. What's going on over here? Whew, that was exciting. We haven't even left yet. We're like literally 50 feet from where we started this trip. Already it's exciting. So, yeah, I guess the problem that I have with those filters is they very often seem a little bit, I don't want to say over the top, but I don't feel like the changes that those filters make are always meaningful or relevant. I feel like sometimes they just make a game look different or prettier or, you know, whatever. But not necessarily. We just got to go for it. We're going to be sitting here all day. There we go. Finally. We got a couple more turns up here. And we'll be out of this area. Hopefully we can make it out without any contact. So yeah, I mean, it certainly changes the way a game looks. Obviously, that's what it's designed to do. I don't know if it necessarily changes the way the game looks for the better, or if it just changes it, and because we have control over it, and because it's sort of novel, that we can look at it and not pretend, hey, Doc Brown, not pretend, but that it's just a novelty. You know, it's different, and so it seems better whether it is or not. So that is, they're continuing to debug that and improve that. So if you have an NVIDIA card, you may have that already. And then there's another one called Ansel, which is the in-game photography mode. Some of this stuff, man, I swear, it's like a little bit of voodoo to me. Just a little bit of voodoo. Because it, you know, I get that it's a thing, but sometimes I don't understand how it can be a thing. Like, how is there a photography feature, app, I don't know what you want to call it, but like, how is that built into the graphics card, and how does that interact with a 3D game in a way that lets you get into like some kind of photo mode? I don't know, but that's good stuff too. So that's what's going on. What else is going on? I have not seen a drop date for the Washington DLC for ATS, and I'm hearing rumors now that there's going to be a big drop for ETS. It's got to be Russia, right? It's got to be. Because if it were Spain and Portugal, I mean, that's a big chunk of territory. But I don't know that people have been clamoring for Spain and Portugal the way that they have been clamoring for Russia. You know, I don't know that there's even really and I'm talking about like all of Spain. Moment, concentrating. You know, you have things like Rust Map and what is it, the Great Steppe? You know, those Russian add-on maps. I don't know that there is even a Spanish add-on map at all. Oh dear. Not the best truckering, but we do what we got to do. So yeah, you see what I'm saying. People want Russia. They have for years. So if there's going to be a big DLC for ETS, it's got to be Russia. It's got to be Russia. But that's a ways out. Washington, I have no date on that yet. And I did see, when I fired up Steam this morning, I did see a big download came in. Well, it wasn't. It was the typical Train Sim World download, which is 300 or 400 meg of download, but then it takes like 30 minutes to install. So I suspect that it's patching everything, the base game and all the DLC. Now I have every DLC for Train Sim World, which, when you recall, it was first released as CSX Heavy Haul, and then at some point it just became Train Sim World. And I guess it was always supposed to be Train Sim World, but I think they released it as CSX Heavy Haul to maybe draw a little bit more attention to it and let people know that it was different from Train Simulator. Perhaps that's why they did that. I don't know. But initially it was CSX Heavy Haul. Now it's just sort of Train Sim World, and CSX Heavy Haul is like the DLC that's built into the first one. Although if you buy it now, you get like multiple paid DLCs, or things that were paid DLCs at one time are now just bundled with Train Sim World base game. Anyway, there are two things that I've bought as DLC. One is the rapid transit route, which is the Leipzig. In the United States we would call it a subway system, but it's like the Leipzig light rail, commuter rail, subway system. And then the other thing is I believe it's the Ruhr-Signord, has a DBR locomotive. Well, this new DLC is the locomotive from the Ruhr-Signord added to the Rapid Transit. And that's cool, I guess, but it's $20, and it's the first DLC that I have no intention of buying. Oh dear. Oh. Carefully. Turn that off. It's the first DLC that I have no intention of buying, and I'm not mad about it or anything, but $20 for something that I've already bought, I don't want to say twice, I mean, because they're not selling you the route again. They're only selling you a loco that you've already bought. But I guess because I paid for the route and then I paid for the loco in another DLC, in another route, it sort of seems like, hey, didn't I pay for both of these already? And I don't know. Something about it just does not, it just feels like a money grab, basically. I don't know why that couldn't be put in there as a patch. And from what I've seen in one of the threads, that locomotive was only on that route briefly for like 2 years, and then it was only because they were waiting for some other loco to be delivered. So it's not like that loco has always lived on that route and it's like a classic thing. I guess there's some diesel locos on the Long Island Railroad, and people are kind of hot that it was represented as only having the electric locos. So I feel like if you were going to put something in because it belongs there, maybe put those diesel locos on the Long Island Railroad. But to put this in as though it belongs there, or as though it's something people were clamoring for, you know, if you feel the need to do that, then go ahead and put it in as a patch, because it already exists. You know, you've already built the loco for that other DLC. But to sell it, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. And I think I'm not going to buy it. And I know at some point I will not be buying Train Sim World DLC, because if it follows the model of their other train simulator franchise, there will be dozens of them, hundreds of them, and they're not all going to appeal to everybody. Now, as a YouTuber, I do want to get these things and test them for you and play with them for you and do a little review for you. I have no problem doing that, but this doesn't necessarily feel like that. So maybe, it's hard to say at the moment. But as for me personally, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, there would be no possibility of me buying that. But strictly for the channel, I may. Although I'm not happy about it, I have to say. Okay, so then we're gonna go over here. Right. So that is what's going on there. As far as other new games, new DLC, I saw Dirt Rally 2.0 was on sale already, which I think is that's interesting. That's awfully fast for a game to be on sale. Particularly, I mean, it might not be a AAA title in the way that we think of it, but that's kind of a big deal, is it not? I mean, that's Codemasters. They're no jokes. So I'm curious why that's on sale already. Now there's a DLC for that, but that came out like just a couple weeks after the game, in a way that made me think either y'all are trying to squeeze more money out of us. And every time I say that, let me clarify, I don't mind a company trying to make money from me. That's what companies do. So when I say that, I'm not like anti-capitalism or anything. I'm just pointing it out. To release a DLC that quickly after the game was released makes me wonder, either that was supposed to be included and they simply didn't get it done in time, or they're just trying to milk me, squeeze more money out of me. So if you're into Rally, Dirt Rally 2.0 is on sale. You let me in? You are not. You are. Thank you, sir. So that is that's a thing. Nothing else really that's on my wish list is on sale, and I haven't even seen MotoGP 19 and F1 19 in the store yet to put on the wish list. They've both been announced, but I'm not seeing either of them like teed up so that you can add them for things that you want to buy later. And then no release dates on any of those other more obscure sims. Dead Stick, Siberian Railway Simulator, and Alaskan Truck Simulator. No release dates on any of those. So that's what's going on there. We did test multiplayer server for Farm Sim this morning. I'll need to do a lot of adjusting with the volume. I want the volume and the sound to be as good as possible. And at the moment, it's a little tricky. I was able to bring Discord into Farm Sim, so bypassed. Okay, cool. So we don't have to stop there. And before we get any sleepier, let's start looking for a place to sleep. I just noticed that we're still in the blue. We're not in the red yet, but I always miss that until it's too late, and then we're panicking. I don't want to be panicking. So I did find a way to bring Discord into Farm Sim. There's a whole list of it, and if you know this, then you know this. Bear with me, like always. Sometimes I tell you things you already know, but you can bring Discord into a specific game and have an overlay only in that game or only in the games that you choose. So I brought Discord into Farm Sim, and now Discord voice is recorded as part of the system sounds for that game. My voice and their voice. So what I'm going to have to do, I can't cut my voice. If I cancel my voice from the recording, then the people I'm playing with are not able to hear me speaking. So I have to record my voice out of Shadowplay. So what I'm going to do is just plug my Blue Yeti into my gaming laptop, because the audio quality of my headset mic it's intolerable now. I can't stand it. Even if there's a good reason to be using headset mic instead of Blue Yeti, like this that we're doing tomorrow, I just can't justify it. It's too it's terrible. I can't believe that when I first started the channel, that's what I was using to record my voice. And I think everybody does that, and then everybody goes to the Blue Yeti, which is the microphone, the standard issue. Everybody that's a YouTuber has the Blue Yeti or the Snowball, and I think that's I don't know, I wouldn't say like the key step, but I feel like when you go from using your headset mic to using the Blue Yeti, that's when you're like announcing to yourself, I'm serious about this. I'm gonna do this whole YouTube thing. Although I'm sure some people start with the Blue Yeti, but I did not. Started with a headset mic, and I can't stand the sound of it now, so I have to swap that over, which is not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'm trying to stay out to the right a little bit so I don't creep my trailer across the white line, and I feel like I'm in danger of hitting this car that I really feel like is trapped out to my right. Now I gotta do exactly the same thing to the other side. Oh, it's exciting being a fake truck driver. Right, so what else is going on? I got my B license in iRacing, and whew, it was hit or miss there for a while, because for license you got to build up your safety rating, and your safety rating is determined by how much contact you have with other cars. And in iRacing, it doesn't matter who hits who, everybody gets points. So if somebody just, you're braking for a corner, for a turn complex, you're braking appropriately as you should be. Somebody else, some jamoke, tries a late braking move and just crashes into you, just slides into you, you get dinged for that. And I would have a safe race, I'd have a clean race, and I would add to my safety rate. I'm trying to get over 3.0 to get my B license. That was what I needed to do. And speaking of safe driving, we're speeding a little bit right now. Let's lock in the cruise control and be a little safer, and continue to look for a place to sleep. So, moment. There it is. So I would do well. I would have a clean race. My safety rating would get closer to 3.0, and then I would do another race and I would lose what I had just gained through no fault of my own. It was becoming extremely frustrating. So I went on Reddit, and now I'm in the C class, and I'm racing with well, there's nobody below C, because you can't get into a C race with a D license. But there's A's and B's in there as well. There are drivers with A licenses and B licenses, which, to have those licenses, they got their safety rating up and kept it there, and et cetera, et cetera. So you would think, right? And I'm reading on Reddit, and something that I came across that was really interesting. I'm doing just to get my license, I'm doing the advanced Mazda races. And those are or at least the one yesterday, it's a free car on a free track. Now, I own cars. I own the Mercedes, the big Mercedes GT3, and I own all the Ford GTs. There are 3 of them. I believe 2 of them you get together, and then the third one you buy on its own. So yeah, you get the GT, and that includes the GT3 and the GT1, which is just called the GT, and then the other one is the GT17. So yeah, buy one, get the first 2. Buy the second one, get the third one. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. 2 cars come in one pack. Second car comes by itself. So I own those. And I'm trying to figure out what tracks to buy. I haven't quite sorted that out yet. But I know I definitely want to be racing sports cars. But for the moment, I was driving a free car on a free track. And I had just been sort of locked into that because, honestly, I didn't want to start trying to drive fast with that Mercedes and be in everybody's way and, you know, be an a-hole and a menace. So that's sort of on me. You know, I could have stepped my game up, but it was just, I don't know, it was just something that I had grown used to doing. So I was on this Reddit, and the consensus that I got was, it doesn't matter how good a person's license is. It doesn't matter what their safety rating is. The reason drivers are so bad at that level is because they haven't paid for anything. Free cars, free tracks. It doesn't matter. You're just going to get bad driving. Now, to be fair, I've been watching a lot of iRacing on YouTube, and even at the pro license level, there are still a lot of crazy pileups and, you know, turn 1 mayhem and things that you would think you would not see at that level, but apparently, and I'll take it even one step further. In fairness, sometimes you even see that in real racing in real life, right? The big turn 1 pileup. So who's to say? Who's to say? But it is apparently exponentially worse on free tracks with free cars. So in the interest of, set the brake, turn that off, let's get some sleep. And is it going to be daylight when the sun comes up? Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it'll be daylight when the sun comes up. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Right, let's back up out of here. And carefully. Oh, I'm concentrating so hard right now. If you only knew. Maybe you do. Right, we made it. I need that menu to go off. So you're going to turn off by itself? Yeah, it is. Fantastic. So that was what I got. And the solution to that, and you even see this at the pro license level, right? Which is obviously the pro license level. That's everybody is driving in cars that they bought on tracks that they bought. So there's none of that free car, free track stuff. And yet you still see that. And what you will see sometimes in big races are people starting from the pits deliberately, which you can do. And the reason for that is you're 15 seconds behind the mayhem in turn 1. And the thing about, like, you can not qualify, and you would think that would put you at the back of the field, but if more than one person has that idea, if a dozen people have that same idea, now you have a dozen cars at the back of the field, and you may not be at the very, very back of them, so you still start the race with a dozen people behind you. So the only way to guarantee that you have no one behind you on the first lap to ram into you is to start from the pit. Or if somebody else gets the idea, then you trust that that person is being as cautious as you, so they're certainly not going to hit you on lap 1. But I tried that for several races, and I was picking up like 0.3 and 0.4 safety rating per race, and I am 3.7 now. So I'm definitely in my B license, but I'll need to wait to the end of the season to get it. But if I do another race this evening and add another 0.3, I will go to 4.0 for a safety rating, and I will get my B license immediately and can start racing B races like this weekend. So that's very exciting, and I'm super, super pleased about that. It was feeling for a minute like I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, I'm literally not going to be able to get my B license because every time I take a step forward, I take a step back as far as safety rating. This is impossible. But that thread really helped. So if you are on iRacing and you are having trouble maintaining your safety rating, one thing that I can tell you is get onto a paid track with a paid car and things will improve dramatically, although they won't be perfect. They'll be better. And if it's still a problem for you, then go ahead and start from the pits. And it's not even as simple as, because this solution it's not really a solution. It's just something that people say. I don't think they're quite trolling, but it's sort of in the neighborhood. People say, just get good, put it on the pole, get good. And the thing that I'm noticing about iRacing, and I suspect that this is true of many things in life, because it's just the way the world works, I think there are some people that are very naturally talented and gifted when it comes to driving race cars, either real or virtual, simulated. I think some people just have they just get it in the same way that people get, hitting a baseball or, doing accounting. Some people just get stuff. And the rest of us, it's not that we don't get it, but it's like it takes us work and effort to do something that comes very, very naturally to them. So when we try to do it together, they're just better at it than us. So I think that's one kind of sim racer. I think the other kind of, or the other variable, the other kind of contributing factor is the equipment that you're on. And I know, being back on the wheel, the idea of trying to play a race sim with a gamepad is like laughable. And it was just a few days ago, I guess a week, 2 weeks, that I was playing several race sims with a gamepad, and I thought that was cool. I'd been on gamepad for the longest time, then I was on wheel for about 3 months, and then I got back on the gamepad, and I gradually got used to gamepad again. But having been back on the wheel now for a second time, I'm wheel only. Forever and ever. From here on out, I will only sim race on a wheel. Because it's just, I don't see any way to accurately do it. I know people can do it, but without the force feedback, without being able to feel the car starting to brake, I personally can't do it. And there are different levels of quality for equipment as far as force feedback, the quality, the accuracy of force feedback. So that would say I would call that the other variable, is how good your equipment is. And you put those two together and you have 4 combos. You have one combo. Hang on, let me find the right gear here. There it is. You have one combo where you have somebody who is very talented and their equipment is not the best. They are very fast. You have another combo where somebody is not super talented, but they have really good equipment and they're pretty fast. You have another combo where somebody is not very talented and they don't have good equipment, and that person is pretty slow. And then the final combo is you have somebody who is extremely talented with very good equipment, and they are uncatchable. They just, I get on some of these races and I run a lap that I am absolutely like over my head. I am going so much faster than I want to be in qualifying. I pull into the pit, check my time, and I'm like 2 seconds off the pole. And it's, oh, okay. So we weren't supposed to make a turn. We were just supposed to go around a bend. I see. So if you're familiar with the service, or I guess that's true of a lot of games, where you give it like your absolute best. I can't do any better than this. That's all I got. That's all I got. And you look at somebody else's time and they just took you to school. So, but you know what? Like I said, that's life. That's life. Sometimes somebody is just faster than you. And I know iRacing does, they do splits and brackets. So they try, for the most part, to put you in races with people that are about as fast as you so that everybody can have a good time. And it is, it's not perfect. It's not perfect as a service, but it works. And there's nothing else like it. And there's really nothing else like racing against live people. I have hundreds, if not thousands of hours in race games and race sims racing against the AI. And it's fun, and it can get very intense. But the only thing you're really ever... the only thing for me, anyway, that really gives me that adrenaline is either breaking a personal record for a lap or winning a very difficult race that I've never won before. And that's it. But when you're racing against other people that you know represent real people sitting in a race chair somewhere, every corner, every turn, when you get in tight traffic, all of it. I don't know what it is. I think part of it could be that you, on some level, recognize that maybe they're seeing you as you're seeing them. So to make a mistake or to run wide and get past, or to get dropped, or to make a mistake, and everybody kind of pulls away from you. It just, you feel so much more self-conscious about it when there's real people around. I don't know if that made any sense. But like if you run wide when you're racing the AI, whatever, the AI doesn't care. But when you run wide when you're racing a person, it's like, oh God, they saw that. So, for me anyway, your approach to online racing could be completely different, but I love it, and I'm super pleased to be up in the B license. I'm going to focus more on, I'll be in paid cars exclusively right now because I ain't going back to that Mazda. I ain't going back to that Miata. But carefully. But I need to figure out what tracks I want to get so that I can be on paid tracks exclusively. And I'm hoping that improves the quality of the racing. Although, as I was saying earlier, when you watch online on YouTube or go on Reddit, and something that you see consistently is there's a lot of people that just don't care. And unless there is a significant prize for the race that you're in, $500 or championship points that are leading toward an even bigger monetary award or whatever, unless there's something on the line, people have a hard time taking it seriously. And I can sort of get that, because really it is a video game. But I'm not at the level yet where I am comfortable that I'm going to be surrounded on all sides by people that are taking it as seriously as me. And I don't know, I tend to take things very seriously, so maybe I never will. Although I have to think that some of these people that are doing it for, big money, they have sponsorships, $50,000 race chair, I have to think that, yeah, they're taking it as seriously as anybody possibly could. So we'll see. But the takeaway from all that is, yeah, finally got my B license. And it took me 2 weeks back on the service. I haven't been in iRacing for months, and it took me 2 weeks to go from a C to a B. So stoked about that. And I mean, if this keeps up, like I could do 4 B races this weekend, and that's it might bump up from B to A. But I know to go from C to B, you had to have 4 races and a safety rating over 3.0. Or 4.0 for an instant promotion. If it's still 4 races, I can do 4 races this weekend, 4 B races. And starting from the pit, keeping my safety rating up, I could theoretically have an A license by Monday. That would be, But you know what? It wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. How fair is that to A racers that have thousands of hours on the service, and I just show up, hey, deedly deet deet. I don't have a ton of hours in that Mercedes in iRacing. I have a ton of hours in it in other sims. But you know what I mean. Now, I did run some laps. There is a race. There's an endurance race at Laguna Seca, which is a free track, by the way. And I did run some practice laps in the Mercedes without setup, and I was about 2 seconds off the pace. And when I say that, I mean 2 seconds off the pace in racing is a catastrophe. You may as well throw yourself out a window. 2 seconds, that's hopeless. In a 50-lap race, you're going to be a minute and a half behind. That's crazy. But as I said, I don't have a ton of time in that car. So I feel like I could whittle that time down and be less than a second off the pace, I hope, in fairly short order. And again, that's not good. But for me to expect to be on the pole in my first B license race, I think is a bit too ambitious. Mostly what I don't want to do is cause anybody else any problems. And we're crossing over. Do we want to be under? Yeah, I think we want to go around. Yeah, we're going to loop around, and then we're going to drive under this road. Okay, cool. Couldn't figure out what was going on with the little spaghetti right there, but now I see. Yeah, that's the main thing for me. I just don't want to be a pain in anybody's ass. I don't want to ruin anybody's day. As upset as I get when somebody takes me out doing something dumb, how shitty would it be for me to then race over my head, right, in a class that I just got into and do exactly the same thing to somebody else, take somebody out because I'm driving over my head. So I would rather wait and just sit on that B license and actually learn the car and learn the tracks and be able to put in some good, meaningful lap times. I'd rather do that than, get all giddy and go out and make a ruckus. And to be fair, you can be demoted in the service. So if I were to go out and act the fool, I could lose that B license that I just aspired to get. So I think the smart thing to do might be just to relax and do a lot of practice laps, because those don't count as far as your safety rating. You can do all the practice laps you want, and that's sort of, there's a saying in racing that you don't really know a track until you put the car off at every single corner. And some tracks it's better to do that at than others because there's really no penalty. You just slide into the kitty litter. There's other tracks like Monaco. I mean, if you hold true to that you can't really know a track until you put the car off at every corner. There's no corner at Monaco where you can put the car off and not essentially wreck the car. I think there's like 1 or 2 runouts in Monaco. So I get what they're saying. And the great thing about iRacing is when you're in that practice mode, you can put the car off as many times as you want. You can experiment with different lines. You can make all the mistakes that you want. And there's no penalty for that. There's no downside. So that's where I would want to make all my mistakes, is in practice and not in a race, and not when my mistakes are going to impact somebody else. So we'll see. But anyway, that's my big news. I got my B license, so stoked about that. And I think that's about it. It's Friday for me. Whoa, Friday for me. Saturday for you. It's cold and rainy here. It's been springtime and 75 degrees. It's been gorgeous. The tulips are blooming. Everybody's getting ready for Easter. It's fantastic. And now it's cold and pissing rain. So I think it's Friday. It's going on 2 in the afternoon. I think I might just start my weekend early. You know what I'm saying? I think I might put on my pajamas and open a bottle of champagne and just start my weekend a little bit early, as you do. Because I don't really have a whole lot else that's on my schedule for the rest of the day. And it's, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm in the mood to watch like a James Bond movie in my pajamas. I don't know if you ever get like that. I get like that. Oh, we're here, by the way. I don't know if you're seeing that on the in-dash, but yeah, we got here, no problem. I'll check the time. My audio app that I use for capture is, whoa, a little bit stuttery right there. The audio capture app that I use is on another machine that I actually can't see from where I am right now, but that was what I used as a clock, because it's got the good official 6 decimal place time code on it for the recordings. and I can't see it. So I don't know how we're doing on time, but I want to say we're about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. We didn't go too long. Where are we going here? Somewhere right up here. Is that it? That's not it. Around the corner. Interesting. Okay. So it's not, is it, well, it's a garage. It's not really inside. It's sort of inside. Okay. Let's go ahead and back it in there. I know you can turn off that backup beeper. I just leave it on for some reason. I think, yeah, we're over way too far. But at least we're square to it. There we go. Mo better. Mo better. Man, I have so much respect for YouTubers that can do this through the mirrors. I used to be able to. I've done it a couple times, but it's been a minute. Right. Put it in neutral. Let's see how we did. Well, we're on time. That's a bonus. And we didn't take any damage. That's a bonus. 12 grand. Right. Okay. There you go. There you go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. We'll see you next time. Take care now.